The sky over New York had never looked so strange. A shimmer of iridescent light hung in the atmosphere, like the northern lights had somehow descended into the city itself. Maya Jensen, a young astrophysicist at the city observatory, stared at the data streaming across her monitors. "This isn't a meteor shower," she whispered, leaning closer. "This is intelligent." Across the globe, reports poured in, massive shapes moving through the upper atmosphere at impossible speeds. Governments scrambled, military satellites tracked their every move, but the world's greatest minds realized something terrifying. These weren't exploratory probes. They were warships. In Geneva, Dr. Arjun Patel coordinated a global meeting of scientists and military leaders. The holographic map projected above the table revealed dozens of glowing points converging on Earth's major population centers. "They're fast, highly coordinated, and extremely precise," he explained. "We've never seen anything like this." His words, calm but heavy, carried a truth everyone felt in their bones. Humanity was about to face its first real test. Meanwhile, in the deserts of Nevada, Captain Lena Ortiz led a joint task force drill meant to test the country's defense against hypothetical threats. She had no idea her training would be reality in less than 24 hours. The first wave of the alien fleet entered Earth's orbit just as the sun rose, painting streaks of orange across the metal behemoths hovering above. Each ship was unlike anything humans had imagined, a fusion of sleek geometry and living technology. Back at the observatory, Maya's screen flashed a coded message. It wasn't just a display of lights, it was a language, mathematical and rhythmic. She knew instinctively that decoding it could reveal the aliens' intentions. But time was short. Before she could alert anyone, the first strike hit. Cities were evacuated in a controlled panic, as missiles and drones deployed to intercept the invaders. But the aliens moved too quickly, anticipating each countermeasure. In London, Professor Eleanor Shaw, a biochemist, was already preparing for scenarios no one had considered. "Their biology, their environment, it's all connected to their technology," she explained to her team. "If we can find a weakness in either, we have a chance." Around the world, teams of engineers, hackers, and military strategists worked tirelessly, sharing discoveries in real time. Humanity had no single leader, no unified command, but that became their strength. As the sun set over the Pacific, the aliens attempted to breach Earth's first line of orbital defenses. And that's when the unexpected happened. A fleet of Earth-made drones, constructed in record time using captured alien schematics, swarmed the lead ship. It faltered, then exploded in a burst of fire and light. Humanity had adapted faster than the invaders anticipated. Captain Ortiz watched the explosion through her drone feed, heart racing. "They underestimated us," she murmured. In the shadow of their fearsome arrival, humans had already begun to turn the tide, not with raw strength, but with ingenuity. Across the globe, ordinary people found extraordinary courage. In Rio de Janeiro, a team of civil engineers rigged skyscrapers with energy-disrupting devices to repel the alien landing pods. In Nairobi, a group of students and local inventors built electromagnetic nets to disable the alien drones. Everywhere humans looked, the planet's inhabitants were improvising, learning, and adapting at a speed no conqueror had ever seen. By nightfall, the first battle was over. The aliens had inflicted damage, yes, but they had also revealed the weaknesses of their own technology. Humanity had learned, adapted, and survived. The world was not united by fear, it was united by determination. And in that determination lay the spark of a resistance no one, not even the galaxy's most advanced conquerors, could have predicted. Above the ruins of New York, Maya, Captain Ortiz, and Dr. Patel watched as the alien fleet regrouped. It was clear, this was only the beginning. And humanity, for all its seeming fragility, had already proven one thing. Underestimating humans was the deadliest mistake the galaxy had ever made. The morning after the first orbital strike, Earth's atmosphere buzzed with an anxious energy. While cities were rebuilding and emergency teams assessed damage, the alien fleet hovered like a dark storm, waiting for the next phase. But humanity was already several steps ahead. In Tokyo, Dr. Hiro Tanaka and his team of engineers were poring over alien drone fragments recovered from the previous day's skirmishes. Their energy cores are stable, but they pulse at a frequency that can be overloaded, he explained to his colleagues. Within hours, they had improvised a prototype device capable of temporarily disabling alien drones without causing harm to civilians nearby. Thousands of kilometers away, in Cape Town, Lieutenant Zanil Moyo led a guerrilla unit tasked with defending strategic infrastructure. "They think they can march through us with brute force," she said, surveying the wreckage of a highway bridge targeted by an alien dropship. "They don't know humans adapt. They don't know we learn faster than they can predict." Using a combination of decoys, remotely detonated traps, and hacked alien technology, her squad managed to divert 2 alien ground units into a canyon, neutralizing them without losing a single soldier. Meanwhile, in the skies above the Atlantic, pilot Marco Silva led a formation of fighter jets retrofitted with alien propulsion enhancements stolen from the wreckage of the first destroyed ships. The jets moved with a speed and precision that astonished even their own crews. "Keep tight formation," Silva called over the radio. "Hit them together, or we'll lose the advantage." Within minutes, a squadron of alien fighters approached, expecting an easy engagement. Instead, Silva's team used predictive maneuvers based on the alien ships' patterns, forcing the invaders into collisions with their own drones. On the political front, world leaders were holding virtual emergency meetings from secure bunkers. President Elena Vasquez of Mexico addressed the Global Council. "We've seen the first wave of attacks. Humanity is not united by governments alone, but by a shared will to survive. We need to empower local resistance groups and civilian inventors. Their creativity is our greatest weapon." In a small rural town in Alberta, Canada, a high school teacher named Liam O'Connor had turned his chemistry classroom into a laboratory. He experimented with common minerals and plant compounds, discovering that when mixed, they could produce electromagnetic pulses capable of disrupting alien armor temporarily. News of his breakthrough spread rapidly through encrypted networks connecting civilian and military innovators worldwide. Within hours, dozens of towns and cities began replicating his designs. Back in orbit, the Araxians, tall, four-armed beings with shimmering armor, grew increasingly frustrated. Commander Threx, leader of the alien tactical wing, stomped across the bridge of his ship. "Why are they resisting so efficiently? They are primitive. They should fall immediately." His intelligence officer, a smaller, insectoid creature named Vlor, shook his head. "They are learning from one another in real time. Every countermeasure we've tried is being anticipated and nullified. They adapt as a collective." On Earth, the collective response was breathtaking. From Moscow to Mumbai, underground workshops churned out modified drones, weapons, and devices using alien technology as a blueprint. Teams of scientists, hackers, and engineers shared data in real time, forming an unprecedented global network. This was no longer about surviving. It was about taking the fight to the invaders. In Sydney, Lieutenant Harper Nguyen coordinated a multi-pronged attack on an Araxian supply ship hovering above the harbour. Using hacked guidance systems, her team maneuvered the alien ship into the city's harbour, where the water disrupted its propulsion systems. The ship toppled, sending a cascade of energy sparks into the bay, but thanks to careful planning, civilian casualties were avoided. The footage was broadcast worldwide, igniting hope in a population that had feared annihilation just days ago. Even the aliens' psychological warfare was failing. Vlor had broadcast the Araxian terms of surrender on every channel, expecting panic and submission. Instead, humans responded with defiance. Street protests turned into organized community defenses. People were no longer waiting for governments to lead them. They were leading themselves, creating improvised barricades, communication networks, and weaponized tools from household and industrial materials. High above the Arctic Circle, a secret coalition of scientists and military strategists gathered in an abandoned research station. Dr. Nadia Hassan studied alien propulsion patterns with a team of physicists. "They calculate trajectories based on linear logic," she explained. "We need to introduce chaos. If we can unpredictably shift our defense patterns, they will overcommit resources and falter." Within hours, Earth's orbital defense network was reprogrammed to move unpredictably, forcing the alien fleet into inefficient maneuvers and exposing gaps in their coordination. Even amidst the chaos, humanity's ingenuity shone in unexpected ways. In the deserts of Arizona, a group of teenage coders had hacked into an alien scout drone, using it to send false signals back to the fleet. The Araxians, expecting compliance from primitive humans, could not comprehend the deception. Ships collided in orbit, destroyed by the mistakes they themselves had made under human interference. By the end of the second day, Earth was no longer just defending, it was counterattacking. Alien dropships that expected minimal resistance were now ambushed by well-coordinated human squads. Each engagement taught the humans something new. Each victory, no matter how small, fueled confidence and collaboration across the planet. From the observation deck of the Araxian flagship, Commander Threx clenched his four fists. They adapt too quickly. They learn faster than we can react. This is impossible. No species has ever done this before. He had conquered hundreds of worlds, yet Earth was different. The aliens' long history of dominance offered no guidance, no strategy that could guarantee success. Back on Earth, Maya Jensen watched the horizon as a new wave of alien ships approached. She turned to Dr. Tanaka. "We're ready. Whatever they throw at us, we'll learn from it. And we'll survive." Above the clouds, humanity's first true counteroffensive had begun. And somewhere deep inside the alien fleet, a realization spread among the officers: Earth was no ordinary planet. It was a planet of thinkers, problem solvers, and innovators. And underestimating such a species would prove fatal. 3 days into the invasion, the world's landscape had transformed into a web of improvisation, strategy, and unexpected heroism. While the Araxians expected easy conquest, humanity's resilience had become the galaxy's greatest surprise. In Buenos Aires, Lieutenant Sofia Ramirez led a covert squad tasked with infiltrating an alien supply depot. The Araxians had assumed humans would flee or surrender, leaving strategic assets unguarded. Ramirez's team, however, had anticipated their route. Using a combination of EMP grenades and homemade camouflaging tech, they disabled alien sentries and slipped inside the massive warehouse. Inside, they discovered energy cells, weapon caches, and communication devices. "If we can reverse engineer these, we'll have the upper hand," Ramirez said, her eyes scanning the alien schematics. Thousands of kilometers away, in Reykjavik, an engineer named Kjell Anderson had been studying the unusual metal composition of the alien ship's hulls. "It's reactive to electromagnetic resonance," he realized. Working with a team of physicists, Anderson created a prototype pulse emitter that could weaken the hull's structural integrity. The device, though crude, allowed humans to disable alien ground units with minimal risk to civilians. Within hours, copies were deployed in hotspots across Europe. Above the Indian Ocean, Captain Reena Patel led a squadron of retrofitted human fighters on a reconnaissance mission. "We're mapping their formation patterns," she explained to her pilots. "Once we understand their coordination, we strike." The alien ships moved in a predictable yet intimidating rhythm, confident that no primitive species could exploit it. Reena's squad, however, used real-time satellite feeds and predictive algorithms created by civilian coders in Bangalore. The alien formation faltered under the humans' synchronized maneuvers, leaving a large transport ship vulnerable. In the deserts of Nevada, a civilian group led by Omar Hassan, an electrical engineer, had constructed a makeshift laboratory from shipping containers. He and his team discovered that a common industrial compound, when combined with local minerals, created a pulse capable of temporarily shutting down alien electronics. Word spread through encrypted networks, and soon, hundreds of similar pulse generators were deployed across key battle zones. Meanwhile, the Araxians struggled to understand humanity's adaptability. Commander Threx convened a council on the flagship, his four arms gesturing sharply. "They evolve faster than expected. Every tactic we employ is countered within hours. How is this species so efficient?" Vlor, the insectoid intelligence officer, replied, "Their decentralized structure is an advantage. They have no single leader, no central point to defeat. And their collaboration is instantaneous. Our protocols fail against such unpredictability." In London, Dr. Eleanor Shaw's team had discovered that the alien energy weapons, while devastating, left behind residual radiation patterns. "If we can use those patterns to anticipate the next strike, we can protect civilian areas and hit them where they are vulnerable," she explained. Teams across the UK built predictive shields and counterweapons within a day. At the same time, ordinary people became extraordinary. In Lagos, a group of mechanics and factory workers created mobile energy traps using scavenged alien tech. In Berlin, students hacked into alien reconnaissance drones, feeding false data back to the fleet. In Sydney, a retired engineer named Thomas used satellite imagery to direct urban ambushes, turning everyday streets into tactical mazes that bewildered the invaders. Back in orbit, the Iraxian command grew desperate. The alien fleet's once perfect formations were collapsing, and their calculated strikes were failing. Ships collided, drones misfired, and ground forces were trapped in human-devised kill zones. Commander Threx pounded his console in frustration. These humans, they are illogical, chaotic, unstoppable. Even as battles raged, humanity found moments of ingenuity and hope. In Vancouver, a young programmer named Aisha Malik created a real-time alien behavior simulator, predicting movements based on past encounters. Using this tool, pilots and ground units could anticipate alien actions seconds before they happened, turning impossible situations into victories. In Paris, Dr. Leon Dubois discovered that alien shields over urban centers cycled every 14 seconds. By timing missiles and pulse generators to exploit these gaps, he enabled coordinated strikes that disabled entire alien units without casualties among humans. The discovery spread through the global network within minutes, making cities once thought vulnerable into fortified zones of resistance. By the fifth day, humanity had launched its first coordinated counteroffensive. Across continents, human forces used reverse-engineered alien technology, improvised chemical devices, and predictive algorithms to strike at supply ships, command units, and drones. The Iraxians had underestimated the human ability to collaborate, innovate, and turn knowledge into action faster than any previous civilization. On the battlefront near Cairo, a squad led by Captain Amir El-Sait faced an Iraxian landing pod. "They think they're invincible," he muttered, observing the alien formation through his augmented goggles. Using a combination of pulse grenades and coordinated ambushes, his team disabled the pod's defenses and forced the crew to retreat. Images of their victory were shared globally, boosting morale and spreading hope. Even the Iraxian communication strategy backfired. Their attempts at fear propaganda were turned against them, as human coders intercepted and altered transmissions, broadcasting messages of defiance and success to every corner of the globe. Fear became determination. Panic became innovation. Commander Threx, staring at the destruction reports, realized the scope of humanity's ingenuity. They adapt faster than we can destroy. They learn faster than we can attack. We have underestimated them, horribly. Back on Earth, Maya Jensen, now coordinating with multiple scientific teams, looked over a live feed of the counterattacks. "Every day they advance, every day they learn," she said. "But we're learning too. This is no longer about defense, it's about showing the galaxy who humans really are." As night fell, humanity had not only survived, but had turned the tides in key battle zones. The Iraxians, despite their technological superiority, were beginning to realize that Earth was not a world to be conquered lightly. It was a planet of innovators, thinkers, and survivors. And this planet's greatest weapon was its people. By the sixth day of the invasion, Earth was no longer a planet under siege. It had become a battlefield where humans dictated the terms. The Iraxians, confident in their centuries of conquest, had not anticipated one crucial factor: the relentless creativity and collaboration of humanity. In Singapore, Lieutenant Mai Lin led a squad of engineers and pilots in an audacious strike against an Iraxian orbital command station. Using drones retrofitted with human-designed cloaking systems, they infiltrated the station's defense perimeter. "Stay sharp," Mai Lin said, her voice calm but urgent. "If we fail here, the orbital fleet will crush our cities. But if we succeed, we cut their communication lines, and that could change everything." Within minutes, their precision strike disabled the station's shields, sending ripples of disruption through the Iraxian fleet. Meanwhile, in the Andes Mountains, a team of geologists and survival experts led by Mateo Rojas set up ambushes against alien ground troops. By exploiting the terrain and using seismic disturbances, they forced the invaders into traps where human-made EMP charges and modified projectiles could neutralize entire units. "They think their armor makes them invincible," Rojas said, watching alien soldiers collapse under targeted pulses. "They've never faced humans who think differently." In Chicago, Dr. Amora Singh had developed an energy redirection system that could absorb alien weapon strikes and redirect them at their ships. Her invention turned once dangerous bombardments into a powerful defensive advantage. As drones fired from above, the system reflected beams back into the alien fleet, causing massive damage. Civilians and soldiers alike watched in awe as the overwhelming might of the Araxians began to falter under human innovation. Across the globe, ordinary people became heroes. In Istanbul, high school robotics clubs repurposed industrial machines into mobile strike units. In Nairobi, farmers used drone-guided nets to capture Araxian reconnaissance units. In Toronto, a retired aerospace engineer named Thomas Levin modified commercial jets to carry electromagnetic disruptors, allowing humans to strike enemy craft in low orbit with surgical precision. Back on the Araxian flagship, Commander Threx paced the bridge. His 4 arms gestured in frustration. Every move we make is countered within minutes. Their weapons adapt. Their defenses adapt. Their strategies evolve constantly. Vlor, the intelligence officer, added, they operate collectively. Their decentralized approach is impossible to predict. They are extraordinary. In Paris, a team led by mathematician Lucien Moreau devised a series of predictive algorithms that could anticipate the aliens' energy shield cycles. This information allowed artillery and missiles to strike at exact moments of vulnerability. Within hours, multiple alien ground units were destroyed before they could even engage. Moreau's work was instantly shared worldwide, creating a network of synchronized strikes across continents. Meanwhile, in Lagos, engineer Ifeanyi Okoye discovered that a certain frequency emitted by alien armor resonated with local minerals. By constructing portable pulse emitters tuned to this frequency, human resistance groups were able to neutralize armored units without significant casualties. We're turning the Earth itself into a weapon, Okoye said. They thought they could conquer us, but this is our home, and we will defend it. Above the skies of Tokyo, pilot Rika Nakamura led a fleet of jets in a daring offensive. Using captured alien navigation systems, his team executed a maneuver no human squadron had ever attempted. They flew directly through the heart of the Araxian fleet, exploiting blind spots and shield gaps. Ships collided in orbit as humans leveraged both speed and clever strategy, forcing the aliens into chaotic retreats. On the ground, civilians organized supply chains, improvised hospitals, and rapid repair teams. Every setback became an opportunity for adaptation. Cities once thought vulnerable were fortified with energy nets, decoy buildings, and underground bunkers. Communication networks allowed knowledge gained in one continent to be applied instantaneously to another. Humanity's unity, born not of governments but of sheer survival instinct and creativity, had become their deadliest weapon. By the end of the day, Earth had achieved something extraordinary. The Araxian fleet was in disarray, suffering losses that far exceeded initial human estimates. Commander Threx stared at his holographic map, aghast. They are unstoppable. Every tactic we know fails. They do not surrender. They do not panic. They innovate. Deep underground in New Delhi, Dr. Kavita Rao and her team prepared the next phase of human innovation. Adaptive camouflage suits that allowed soldiers to blend into any environment, and portable EMP emitters designed for guerrilla squads. We can't just fight back, Rao said. We have to outthink them at every turn. Their arrogance is our advantage. Even the Araxians' psychological operations had failed. Broadcasts meant to demoralize humans were intercepted and altered by hackers like Aisha Malik in Bangalore and Lucas Moreau in Paris, turning fear into defiance. Messages of unity and innovation spread across continents, inspiring humans to fight not just for survival, but for victory. As night fell, the Earth itself seemed to breathe a collective sigh of determination. From the mountains of South America to the deserts of Africa, from cities rebuilt overnight to makeshift laboratories buzzing with discovery, humans had become a force the galaxy had never seen. Commander Threx finally faced the undeniable truth: the humans' unpredictability, collaboration, and creativity made them impossible to conquer with conventional tactics. His fleet, once confident and precise, was now disordered, vulnerable, and terrified. Back on Earth, Maya Jensen, Lieutenant Mai Lin, and Dr. Amora Singh convened virtually, reviewing the day's victories. We've survived the initial strike, Maya said, her voice steady. "Now it's time to take the fight further. We're showing them that humans are not just survivors. We are innovators, thinkers, and warriors. They made a fatal mistake coming here." In that moment, for the first time since the invasion began, hope was no longer fragile. Humanity was rising, and the Araxians were learning that underestimating a planet of thinkers was a mistake they could never recover from. The dawn of the seventh day broke over a world transformed. Cities, though scarred, were humming with activity as humans prepared for the final confrontation. The Araxians, once confident in their conquest, now faced a species that learned, adapted, and outsmarted them at every turn. In Cape Town, Lieutenant Zanil Moyo coordinated the largest human resistance operation yet. Using a combination of retrofitted drones, adaptive camouflage squads, and pulse generators, she prepared an ambush for an Araxian ground assault heading toward the city's port. "This is it," she said to her team. "Every lesson, every discovery, every invention, it all comes together today. They think they're invincible. They're about to learn otherwise." Meanwhile, in São Paulo, engineer Rafaela Costa had modified captured Araxian energy cores to power massive electromagnetic cannons. Mounted atop high-rise buildings, the cannons emitted bursts of energy capable of disabling multiple alien ships simultaneously. "If we hit their fleet in formation, we can break their orbit control," Costa explained. Teams across the Americas, Europe, Asia, and Africa replicated the system within hours, creating a global network of human-made artillery. Above the Atlantic, Captain Marco Silva led a squadron of human fighters in a daring maneuver. Using a combination of decoy drones and captured alien guidance systems, they drew the Araxian fleet into a trap over the ocean. Ships collided, shields overloaded, and energy pulses from below disabled the invaders' armor. Silva's squadron cheered as the first major orbital victory was confirmed. Humanity had taken the fight into space itself. In Moscow, Dr. Natalia Orlov and her team discovered that Araxian armor relied on an energy flow similar to a heartbeat. By synchronizing pulse attacks to disrupt that flow, they caused cascading failures in multiple enemy units simultaneously. "We're hitting them where it counts," she said. "They've never faced a species that turns knowledge into action this fast." Even in the smallest towns, humans contributed to the victory. In rural India, a group of farmers rigged electromagnetic traps using solar-powered circuits and local minerals. A squad of alien troops attempting to establish a base was caught in the ambush, neutralized without harming any humans. In Canada, civilian hackers took control of Araxian drones and redirected them into inactive ships, turning alien technology against its owners. As the Araxian fleet began to crumble under coordinated strikes, Commander Threx convened a crisis council on the flagship. His 4 arms trembled with frustration. Every attack, every tactic, they anticipate it, they adapt. This is impossible. They are not a civilization we can conquer. Vlor, the insectoid intelligence officer, added, "They operate as one species, but without a single leader. Their collective creativity surpasses all our expectations. They are extraordinary." On Earth, Maya Jensen and Dr. Hiro Tanaka monitored orbital satellites. "They're losing cohesion," Maya said. "We've pushed them to a breaking point. But we have to keep up the pressure. One mistake could cost us everything." With coordination across continents, humans synchronized strikes on key alien command nodes. Ships exploded in brilliant arcs of energy, their once intimidating presence reduced to flaming wreckage falling into oceans and deserts. In Paris, Lucien Moreau and his team managed a final strike using predictive algorithms combined with newly modified energy weapons. The last Araxian landing pods, sent to secure key cities, were neutralized before they even touched the ground. Civilians watched as enemy machines fell, realizing humanity's collective ingenuity had turned the tide of an interstellar war. On the battlefront near Cairo, Captain Amir El Sait and his squadron led ground forces against a massive Araxian dropship. Using synchronized pulse grenades, adaptive camouflage, and makeshift explosive devices, they disabled the ship's armor in record time. The Araxian soldiers, once confident and imposing, were overwhelmed by human tactics and sheer unpredictability. Even the Araxians' psychological control failed completely. Messages intended to intimidate humans were intercepted and replaced with real-time footage of Araxian losses. Broadcasts of human ingenuity, teamwork, and victory spread rapidly across continents. Fear turned into determination, despair into hope, and confusion into universal resistance. As night fell, the Araxian fleet had been reduced to a few retreating vessels. Commander Threx realized that the invasion had failed completely. The humans had not only survived, they had innovated faster, coordinated better, and fought with a creativity that no conqueror had ever seen. This planet, this species, is not to be underestimated, he admitted. They have turned every weakness into strength. We must retreat. Back on Earth, people celebrated cautiously. Cities were damaged, but lives were saved, and humanity had proven something greater than victory over aliens. Humans could rise against impossible odds. Dr. Maya Jensen looked at a live feed of the last retreating Araxian ships. "We've survived because we never stopped thinking, inventing, and working together," she said. "They thought Earth would fall easily, but they underestimated our greatest weapon, ourselves." In the deserts, forests, and cities, humans reflected on what had been achieved. Ordinary people, teachers, engineers, students, farmers, had become heroes. Knowledge, curiosity, and creativity had saved the world. Humanity had survived not because of sheer force, but because it had used its mind and spirit as its ultimate weapon. By the next morning, the Araxians were gone from Earth's skies, leaving only fragments of their once mighty fleet. Humanity stood united, not by politics, not by armies, but by a collective will to survive, adapt, and overcome. And in that unity, in that relentless ingenuity, the galaxy would learn a truth the Araxians would never forget. Underestimating humans was the deadliest mistake any civilization could ever make.